First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Justin Ehrlichman, and I currently work, I'm based out of the Pittsburgh metro area, and I've been in the IT field off and on since 2003. I currently work as a senior level IT support specialist for a company called Schneider Downs, which is a CPA firm located in the Pittsburgh area, but they also have a presence here in Columbus. I want to thank my coworker Bridget for helping me with some of the physical stuff and providing feedback for me. So in my job and all my IT roles, I am very deeply entrenched in the Microsoft world, so much so that at one point I was working as a contractor for Microsoft, providing Microsoft 365 support. But I have a very soft spot for Linux and all things free and open source. And one of my favorite things about my current role is I get to automate things through PowerShell, like Active Directory, Microsoft 365, and Exchange Online. And I also have experience with PHP and the LAMP stack. So I'm going to skip a lot of these slides, and I'm just going to give you the TLDR version of it. So basically, I love using Linux on all my home machines, and an application I really like playing with is Garageband. Who here has ever used Garageband? Oh, good. Okay, good portion of the room. Okay, so. You know, I wanted to bring that experience to Linux, and I was doing some research on some different DAWs, and there really wasn't any DAW that provided that experience out of the box. So knowing what I know about open source and how it can be modified or extended and how DAWs use different, you can use different plugins with DAWs, I was looking for a way to achieve that. And being the strong-willed, determined person that I am, I found a way to do it through Ardour and their Lua scripting. So, so I'm just going to get right into the demo just for the sake of time. So one of the I have different goals for this project. My project, in case you didn't see it on the other slide, is called Logical Ardour. And it gets its name from the fact that GarageBand is basically a stripped-down version of Apple's premier DAW, Logic Pro. So we're just going to get right into it. So when you actually don't mind me looking at my phone, because I have some notes in here that keep me on track. So when you first launch Ardour, you know, normally, you know, it looks a little something like this. So, you know, you look at them, and somebody who's new to music production like me is looking at this like, what do I do here? Like, what is all this? So, one of my goals was, you know, to have this little menu pop up so I can do various things and make it a little more obvious, like GarageBand does. So I'm going to launch Ardour, and then oh, what happened to Ardour? Oh, there it goes. Okay. And so you have this little menu system that pops up. So, you know, I can choose what kind of track I want. I can choose a drum track. You know, I can use an instrument track. You can record audio or vocals. You can do, you know, a guitar track. And then we have the session player, which I'll show you when we do the instrument portion of it. So let me give you a brief rundown of how Lua works in Linux, or in Ardour. So, so if you go to Edit and then go down here to Lua scripts, you can load in the various scripts you have. They're usually located in two places. One is within your home directory, within your dot files. In the .config file, there is an Ardour file. And then you go to scripts, and you can write your scripts in here. There's also some Lua scripts that come with Ardour pre-installed. So if we go back into the script manager here, let's say I wanted to load a script here. I'd click Add Set, and then you can select the different scripts you have. So each of these various action scripts, they correspond to different buttons over here towards the right. You have the new track over here. You can change the drum kit right here. You can open up MuseScore for sheet music. Detect the key, the audio to MIDI script. This changes the instrument for the session player. This just changes a regular instrument. This changes the guitar plugin. This gets the tempo for an audio loop. And then this changes the vocal presets. This changes the pitch of an audio loop by key and scale. And then we can time stretch an audio loop to a fixed tempo or BPM. So I have a GitHub repo for this, and I'll have a QR code for those of you who may be interested in this project. Just waiting for Vivaldi to load. Oh, wait a minute, it might have already loaded. Okay, so this right here is my my GitHub repo right here, and when it's done, I'm going to have like all the different YouTube links on how everything works, and I have an install script for Ubuntu that basically puts all the files in the right place and configures everything. So also with the Lua scripts, what you can do is we'll go back into Script Manager, and we have these action hooks. So you see load guided menu. What that does is it loads up that menu. If you load up a blank session, you can just load that menu up and then pick what kind of track you want. And then I have this autosave snapshot thing that saves it every minute. And that allows it the integration with MuseScore, so we can view MIDI regions as sheet music, since that was one of the goals. So, let's see. Okay, so, all right. So, first thing is we're gonna talk about the drums. So my goal here was to have a wide variety of drum kits available, and to have the drum kits automatically follow an audio loop. I always thought that was a neat function in Garageband, and that was something I was very interested in replicating. So that was one of the first things I tried to replicate when I first started this project. But before we get into the drummer, I do have to talk about where you get loops in Ardour. So there's 3 different places. Here is the Ardour bundled content. You get this if you purchase a subscription version of Ardour. You get these beats and these chords and these chord progressions. However, those are open source, so I've included them in my install script, and I put them in a folder called Drum Loops, Chords, and Progressions. And I've added some additional drum loops here. We have these drum patterns right here, which are under an MIT license. And then we have my favorite loops, the drum jockey loops, which they're not under an open source license, but they are under a very permissive license that allows me to use them in this project. So, and then another place to get loops is go to Library Downloader, and you can download different loop libraries. And the third place, and this is my favorite part, if you go to Session and then Import, we click on Search Free Sound, and we search for a keyword. It'll search freesound.org for different loops that you can download. So it's gonna ask me to verify my account in Freesound. And then we're going to click OK. And then it's going to download the loop. It's a little slow because the Wi-Fi is not the greatest here, but let's wait for that to load up. And we can play that loop. And then if we import it, it becomes part of your free sound library that you can reference for other projects. So with that out of the way, before I show you the proper way to do drums, I'm gonna show you guys something, another way that I did it. When I first embarked on this project, this is one of the first things I was trying to replicate, and I was a little bit desperate. So I asked the Ardour forum if they knew of any Lua scripts that can follow an audio loop. So somebody suggested the polyphonic audio to MIDI script. So I'm going to demonstrate that here. So I'm going to create a new drum track. And I'm just going to do electronic drums. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a new MIDI region right here. And then hit the Control key and select both the audio region and the MIDI region. And then we're going to hit the audio to MIDI script. And this is a script that I wrote. This is a script that comes with Ardour. And so if we play this, you have drums that are actually following the loop. Now, as you can hear, the drums are following the loop, but in my opinion, I don't think they sound very good, but they work. So let me show you the proper way to do this. So I'm going to get rid of this MIDI region, and I have a script that will estimate the tempo of the audio loop. So we can either set it for the entire project or set tempo markers for the length of the loop. So I personally like to set it for the entire project. And so when we do that, the audio loops don't necessarily follow the tempo set in the project, but the MIDI loops do. So if we go back to drums, chords, and progressions, and we add in one of the drum jockey loops. Actually, I don't want to use this one. I want to use, this one, one of these basic beats. And then we move the end marker over here. And then we can duplicate it so it fills the entire track. And then let's play it and see what it sounds like. the D button or hit Alt D, and we can change out the different drum kits. And I want to draw your attention to the different synths I'm using. I'm using the Ace Fluid synth and the AVL drum kits. The Ace Fluid synth uses sound fonts, and so does AVL drum kits, but AVL drum kits actually has visuals associated with the drum kit. So if I select the Black Pearl drum kit and then double click on the plugin, you can see a visual of the actual drums. So, and I want to draw your attention to one particular drum sound font I have loaded here called Alyssa's Drum Kits. And this has over 31 different drum kits we can go through. So I'm just going to play this, and then we can go through the various drum kits rather. Okay, so let's say you wanted to edit the loop. So what you want to do, if you want to reveal the piano roll, you hover your mouse over the bottom of the track. And what I've done with Logical Ardour is put in a patch file, so you can have the various drum components assigned to their notes by the general MIDI standard. So if, for example, I wanted to put in a hand clap, let me actually change the drum kit first for one that actually has a hand clap. So we'll go to the electronic drum kit, and we just put them here. And you want to make sure when you're doing this that you have snap turned on, so it snaps to grid and it'll be on beat. So if we play this, we'll just play this portion. You can hear the hand claps that I put in. Now, I know what some of you are probably thinking. Well, the tempo's already written in the file name. What if it's not written in the file name? So let me show you that. I'm going to show you one of my favorite lo-fi loops. Let me see if I can find it. It's all the way down here. Ooh. Right there. And so I'm going to get the tempo of that. And it comes back with a tempo of 100. So if we play it, you can see that it is now following the lo-fi loop. Pardon me, I'm just bringing up my notes here. Notebook, software instruments, okay. All right, so let's get rid of these two tracks. And so you know, with the software instruments, you know, the goal was to have a full range of instrument sounds out of the box, and to easily be able to switch between the different instrument sounds, and be able to view and edit MIDI regions as as musical scores. So if we go back into Ardour and we do a new track, I have 3 different synths and a sampler. So we have here the Ace Fluid synth, which you saw with the drummer. It uses a special sound font called the General User sound font that has over 259 different instruments that you can play with. So you can just go through the different instruments. And then if you want to change what plugin you want to use, all these synths all have a ton of different presets in them. This one is called Yoshimi, and it's very, if you ever used LMMS, it's very similar to a synth called Zenad Sub-Effects. And the reason I picked this synth is not just because it has a ton of presets, but it has one of my favorite synth sounds in it. If we go to Fantasy and then Road Space. That's a pretty cool synth sound. And then let me exit that. And then we're going to check out Surge XT, which has a ridiculous amount of instrument presets to choose from. Like, you could just go in here all day and just sample and just check these out. So, just show you a couple. Okay, so, and then we have a sampler. And what a sampler does is it basically turns a sound into a musical instrument. So a few weeks ago, me and my buddy were driving around, and we're both into electronic music, and we heard this song called Bow Wow. So I took the main vocal, which is Bow Wow, and then chopped it up, and then turned it into a sample, and we get this. And so if you go up and down the different pitches, the more you go up, the faster it goes, and it gets higher pitch. So yeah, that's the sampler. So let's see here. So if you wanted to record a MIDI region, you would just draw a region right here, and then let me switch back to the Ace Fluid synth, and then just draw in your different notes. Another way to do it, and then we can also obviously record something. So let's we'll do one of the poly synths, I guess. Maybe this one. So you would arm the track for recording. And then make sure the playhead's at the beginning, and then hit space. Then I'm going to mute this other track right here so it doesn't distract us. Hit the space key and start, and then you start recording. So, and then you can just play it back. case you guys can't tell, I'm definitely not a musician. So, so one of the goals was to be able to open up and edit a MIDI region as sheet music. So I couldn't really find any plugins that were stable enough that were able to do that. So I found a way to integrate MuseScore. So we're going to use this script to open up the MIDI region in MuseScore. And now you can see it represented as sheet music. So if we go to input a note, well, it's supposed to, well, it's muted. That's why it's not working. So it hooks up to whatever synth it's connected to. So if I change the instrument here, we go back into MuseScore. So one limitation of this is it doesn't have the ability to directly edit the region onto Ardour. So there's two ways to do it. One way is to use MuseScore to record onto the track since it's connected to that particular track. So I'm going to hit spacebar, and then we're going to go down to MuseScore, and we're going to play it. So, and then once it's done, you do have to go to the special edit, the internal edit tool, and remove that little label there. It'll just play as grand piano, and then you have to use the scissors tool to clean up the region a little bit and just get rid of the unused space. And that's one way. And the more cleaner way to do this, let me turn off recording, is to just export the MIDI to a file. And you want to make sure that it is standard. It's a standard MIDI file. And then you save it. And we're just going to overwrite that. And then I don't need to save changes in here. So with that track selected, go to session and then import. And then we'll go to browse clips, and then there's my my file that I saved. We're going to import it, and then use the internal edit tool to get rid of that marker right there, and then you just play it. Okay, so one thing, so I was on YouTube one day, and I noticed that Apple had just released Logic Pro 11, and one of the things they released was called a session player, and it kind of follows the same idea of the drummer, where you have instruments follow along with whatever you're playing or an audio loop. So I saw that, and I'm thinking, ooh, shiny thing. I'm wondering if I can do that in Ardour. So, and it turns out there is a way. So if we go over here to Session Player, I'll just load up the Ace Fluid synth, and I'm going to bring in my favorite lo-fi loop again. And let me just line it up there. And so the way it works is it goes by the key and the tempo of whatever you're doing. So I have a script that will get the key of the song. It calls a Python script in the background, and then puts the output there, and it's F major. So I don't need to set the project key right now. And then we also need to get the tempo of the song. So get the tempo, and then we'll go to my chord packs, and then we'll look for an F major chord. And scroll down. There we go. So we have a chord progression right there. And I'm going to change this to a bass since the main loop is already a piano. I guess we'll do acoustic bass. And then we're going to duplicate this track once. And then you have the acoustic bass kind of following along with the audio loop. So we can also change the instrument if we want. And the way it works is it uses an arpeggiator and a MIDI strum to attenuate the notes. For those of you who don't know, an arpeggiator is basically something that plays a note in rapid succession. This particular arpeggiator, what it does is it plays the same note in different octaves. So to the human ear, it sounds like it's going up and down different notes. So, and another way to implement this is that audio to MIDI script I showed you earlier with the drummer. So I'm just going to remove this track, and then I'm just going to put in. I'm going to put in another loop right here. So get rid of that, remove, and then let's go to. Put in that one I had in the beginning. And then we'll create a new software instrument pack, or instrument track, rather. And we'll draw a MIDI region. And then we'll select control and then select them both. And then we're going to generate some MIDI based on this audio loop. It's going to transcribe them to notes. So, so now when we play it, it adds a whole new dynamic to the piece. It does sound like Linkin Park. You know what? That's a good point. I never really thought about that. Okay, so let's say, what's cool is, let's say you wanted to to see what that audio loop looks like as sheet music, and you want to print it. You could do that with the MuseScore script. So we're going to do that, and you'll get this little message that says if MuseScore shows a blank page, you may have to wait a minute or two for it to Ardour to write it to disk, and that's why I have that one script that autosaves. So we'll see if it comes up blank or not. And you see, we now have that audio loop represented as sheet music using MuseScore. So let's see. Did I get everything? Yep, got everything there. And then next thing we're going to cover is the guitar. The goal was to have like a ton of guitar presets to choose from. So I have two plugins for that. Let me get rid of these tracks first. Remove. And then we're going to create a new record guitar bass, and we're going to take a look at GuitarX. And you'll have to excuse me because I really do not know how to play guitar, but it's just to demonstrate everything. So who here remembers a song from Green Day, The Boulevard of Broken Dreams? So we're gonna, we have a preset for that, and if we play it, you get that effect. I also have some Eric Clapton presets, like from Wonderful Tonight. So if we play it, and then I also have some of these metal presets. Okay, and the other guitar plugin I have is called Ratatouille. And what Ratatouille does is it uses what's called neural amp modeler files, which uses machine learning to model different physical amps, and people can upload them to a site called Tone Hunt. I have preloaded some NAM files that were on GitHub. So we could just go through the various and hear how they sound. And I also have some impulse responses, which kind of simulates the speaker cabinet that the amps are in, and that also changes the sound of the guitar. So that's basically the guitar. It's pretty straightforward. You could use this guitar script between the plugin between Ratatouille and GuitarX. So yeah. Let me get my notes out here. And so the next track is the audio and vocal track, and the goals here are to be able to transpose an audio file by key and scale, which Ardour doesn't really have the ability to do by default. Be able to stretch an audio loop to a fixed BPM. And then be able to select and switch between different vocal effects, just like you do in Garageband, and then have an easy to set up auto-tune that follows the key of your project. Basically sound like T-Pain. I know some people don't like that, but I do. So, so what I'm going to do, let me see. So I'm going to load in a 2 different loops here. And then we're going to load a another loop here. Just going to load this one. So I want this loop to follow the key of this loop I have, the top loop I have selected. So I'm going to get the key of that loop. So it comes up as E minor. So what we could do here is we could set it as the project key, and then if we want to change the change it to E minor, this script will do that. It's the transposition script. Now you can see that I have my project key automatically set there. However, if I select that, when I tested this the other night, that part of it is not working right now. It's something I'll have to debug later, so no big deal. We can just select the key manually, and it will analyze it and transpose it for us. And so if we play it, you can hear that it's in the same key, that they're both in the same key, but they are out of time. So to fix that, we're going to use the time stretch tool, and we're going to actually, we need to get the tempo of this loop right here first, and then set it as the project. And then we're going to time stretch it to the project BPM. You can also put in your own BPM if you want, but I like doing it by project. So it's running a little bit. My computer's running a little bit slow this morning. I apologize. Waiting for that to analyze. And then now when we play them, they're both in key and in time with each other. The other thing we wanted to do was the different vocal presets. Garageband has different vocal presets that we can go through, and I've implemented some of them into Ardour. So if we go to new track and then record audio, we can record a blank audio track. I'm not going to demonstrate that because the mic's going to go crazy. We have these different vocal presets. So I'm going to select dance, and it loads in some plugins. And my goal here was to try to try to replicate the sound of the different vocal presets in Garageband as closely as I could. So I'm going to import a a very terrible sounding vocal. I'm going to give you guys a fair warning because it's me. Um, so, um, so here we go. And we're going to import it to selected tracks. And then let me just close that out. And then we're gonna play it. My condolences to your ears.
Testing out vocals in
So,
Garageband.
what we
Let's
can
see
do
how this
is we can change
sounds.
out
Let's
the
see
different
how
vocal
this
presets. So
sounds.
we can make
Testing
it sound more
out
bright,
vocals in
and you can see it changes
GarageBand.
out the different
Let's
plugins.
see how this sounds. Let's see how this sounds.
I can make myself sound
Testing
like a
out
robot if I want
vocals
to.
in GarageBand. Let's see how this
I can give myself
sounds.
deeper vocals.
Let's see how this sounds. Testing out
We'll switch it to
vocals
classic.
in GarageBand. Let's see how this sounds.
So one of the other goals was to have easy to set up auto tune that follows the key of whatever you're working on. So I'm going to go back to my favorite lo-fi loop. See if Susan, I can. There it is, right. Where's it at? There it is. So I already know the key is F major, so I'm going to turn on this auto-tune plugin, and then I'm going to set the T-Pain preset, and I already know it's an F major, so I'm going to set the key to F major, and then we're going to play my vocal.
Testing out vocals in GarageBand. Let's see how this sounds. Let's see how this sounds.
And so when I change the vocal presets, it keeps the auto-tune settings. So if we go to like the edge vocal right here,
testing out vocals in GarageBand.
we can do tube vocals.
Let's see how this sounds. Let's see how this sounds.
It's supposed to sound like you're in a tube, but apparently I need
Testing
to work on
out
that.
vocals in GarageBand.
Okay, so let's see where we're at. I know we're a little short on time, but in the words of Steve Jobs, one more thing. So another cool feature of Logic Pro 11 is the ability to do stem separation. And what stem separation is it takes a song and splits them out into different instruments. So let me get the script loaded here. And make sure make it 13. Stem separation. And then Let me load up a song. Should be in my downloads folder. Okay. Downloads. No, I did not want to highlight. Here we go. So this particular song that I'm loading, it's made by Glenn MacArthur, who is the creator of a Linux distribution called AV Linux. That's made. It's a distribution that's made for audio production. So this is gonna. This is and again, my computer is running a little bit slow today. So while this is doing that, let's go over some key takeaways. I'm gonna continue to demonstrate it, but I'm just gonna go over some key takeaways so there's not silences. So key takeaway is if you want to have these kinds of cool experiences that you have in Garageband, you don't have to go buy like a Mac, or you don't have to buy like an expensive DAW for Linux like Presonus Studio One or something like that. And I have my this is my contact information, and I also have a QR code for my GitHub for those of you who may be interested in this project. So let me go back to see where we're at here with the import. I'm glad I took some time to let that import. And now go to my script, and usually this takes about 10 minutes, but it's probably going to take longer this morning. So we want to call the script. And we're going to do drums, vocals, bass, and other, and all the other instruments. And it's calling a Docker container, and this is going to take probably about 10 to 15 minutes to run. So while that's running, wanted to get everyone's thoughts on this. What does everyone think? What's your feedback? Yes. Mm-hmm.
Somebody that uses Audacity a lot, so for the comparison to the...
So Ardour, just like Audacity, does have the ability to record music. The difference between, for me, and you'll have to excuse me, I'm still new to music production myself, but the big difference between Ardour and Audacity is in Audacity, it has very limited MIDI capabilities, or none at all. So I couldn't use Audacity for this project. And I like Audacity. I use it a lot to change the pitch of different songs. Another musical program, if you do a Google search for GarageBand alternatives for Linux, one of the apps that'll come up is LMMS. LMMS actually has the opposite problem of Audacity, where it can sequence and record and edit MIDI, but it can't edit and record audio. So it makes it, not good for this particular application. So, what other questions does anyone have? Is there anything I can answer regarding the one of my scripts, or I'll do my best to answer questions regarding music production. Yes, sir.
Oh.
It's a dumb question. But I'm looking at that, and that seems very complicated for my use case. Okay, yeah, that was, Ardour seems very complicated for my use case. Is there a simpler program that can actually create music that's available on Linux?
The simplest, yeah, there's, I mean, is there something that, is there a particular app that you had in mind? I'm just curious.
Okay, I've created an app for my grandkids, and it's for an Android phone to use, and it includes both notes and drawing.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to update the notes a little bit more for the app, and you know, to a little bit better sound, and you know, I need to get more into tunes with notes. Excuse me, more into tune with notes and music and that kind of stuff, which I don't know hardly, which I'm very ignorant on.
Yeah, so my goal here basically, you know, it is a little more, it's a little more complex to use than Garageband, but it replicates the functionality and kind of, you know, the scripts kind of help onboard new users who are new to music production with the different dialogue menus. So. Yeah, so that's basically, that was basically my goal. It's, yeah, I don't. You had a question, sir, and agree.
In the corner here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just hoping you would go through some of the Lua scripting. Like, I don't know if you're, how long you've been using it, but like, how did you get started, you know, figuring out you want to do this, and then I can pair that with a Lua script.
Yeah. So let me show you guys my some of the resources that I used. So there's two main resources here.
Did one of you guys have a question?
One is in the GitHub repo for Ardour. There is some example scripts that you could follow. So if we go into share, and then scripts, you can follow these example scripts, and they do various things. And then the way when I first started this project, I really didn't even know what Lua was. So I had to take a YouTube tutorial on how to do it. So the other resource that I cross-reference is the Ardour manual. And if we go to the Ardour manual, and you could see the different properties and methods, and you can kind of compare them to what's in the sample scripts and kind of cross-reference to see what you want to do. Now, did you want me to go through one of my scripts? Okay. So let me show you the tempo script. So let me get there. So it's in. So for the tempo script, so what it does is it's going to, so with the Lewis scripts for Ardour, there's certain components you have to put in. You have to put in all this information up here. It talks about what the script does and who made it and a brief description. And then you have this, this function that needs to be in there. And within that function is the main code. I have a little dialog box, and it checks to make sure that it's an audio region, and it makes sure you actually have only one region selected. And there's 3 ways that it gets the tempo. Let me see if I can. So first way it gets the tempo is by doing string matching in the file name, and then it sets it that way. The second way to do it is based on another script that's supposed to output the tempo in the Ardour example scripts. However, it doesn't actually calculate and set the tempo markers. So what I did was I asked one of the developers how it does the calculations, and I implemented those calculations, and it sets the tempo marker there. And the third way, if the sample is like below like 4 or 5 bars, that second method won't work right now. So what I do is I have it call 2 tools, SOX and BPM tools, to estimate the tempo, and it estimates the tempo that way. So yeah, to get from just being somebody who played around with Garageband a few times to knowing a little bit of Lua and writing all this took me about 10 months. As I'm not a full-time developer. I mean, I do some scripting for my job, but you know, it's not something I do day in and day out. So it was something I was doing on my own time, and I was learning along the way. So yeah, that's basically it. Looks like this is almost done. Does anyone else have any questions?
Yeah, I had one. So this may be just like not having tested this stuff far enough. A lot of the stuff that you're showing is used with kind of like canned loops, which are typically pretty simplistic as far as music. Have you tried doing it with like live audio stuff that's recorded that may be like more complex? Like I'm thinking like a jazz tune that does like a lot of modal stuff, like, and see if those scripts can pick up like the key there.
You know what? I think at one point I did try doing that, and I think it did actually pick up the key, but it's been a while since I've done that. So right now, what it's doing is it's importing the various stems into different tracks. So that's going to take another minute or 2. So it already did the drums, and now it's doing the bass. Yeah, the disadvantage, the reason why this takes so long is because I don't have an NVIDIA GPU with CUDA. So it's using like a language model to do it. So it's using the CPU, and that's significantly slower. So let me get rid of the original track here. And let's play it. So let's solo the vocals. And you can hear it is extracted out the vocals.
They were young, stark, and beautiful.
And then we can solo the bass. And I really like the bass work in this song.
And a clock
And then
on
we
the
can
mantel
solo out the drums.
with a clock.
And then you have all the other instruments down here. So that's basically Logical Ardour in its current state. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.